Hello and welcome everybody. Today we're going to be taking a look at the SWTOR 7.2 changes for PvP exclusively. We kind of go over my opinions and thoughts on everything, and boy are there a lot of changes. So their goal for 7.2 with the PvP revamp is they want to increase the PvP participation, encourage positive play, and make sure PvP is rewarding to play. All of these are very good directions to kind of take the game if they can actually achieve these goals. So we're going to kind of go and look through and kind of give them a rating as far as what they're trying to achieve. So the first thing they're doing, and this is kind of the big one, so the PvP queue changes. Ranked arenas are gone. There is no more ranked at all in PvP. So the leaderboards are going, I assume there's going to be no type of stats, no type of display, no type of skill rating. It's just pretty much going to be you either queue for 8s or you queue for 4s with nothing in between. There's not going to be a group setting, there's not going to be a solo setting. It's just going to strictly be either you queue for the 4s or you queue for 8s. So there is going to be an 8v8 queue. You can queue solo or a group. What we don't know right now is if we can queue as a full 8 stack. In the developer stream where this information is coming from, they said that you could queue for the maximum number of party slots, if kind of remembering the stream correctly. So I'm not sure if that's insinuating that you can queue for a full 8 stack now or not. We don't know that, but that could be an interesting change. If that does come, that you can queue as a full 8 stack, matchmaking has to work. It cannot put a full group of 8 against a bunch of solo queue people, if that is what is happening. Also, it needs to, if we're just doing the queues where we're just doing 8v8 and there's no type of like solo ranked or anything, matchmaking has to start putting those pre-mates together, because what's going to happen is all the people from solos are going to start going back in 8v8s and they're going to all queue together, so it has to start matchmaking them. There has to be better matchmaking 8v8s, or it's going to be a disaster. Next we have is the change. So ranked arenas are being completely removed. They're being redesignated to 4v4 queues, so you can either queue solo or a group. Again, though, the biggest problem is going to be what happens when there's a 4 stack queuing against solo players. So matchmaking again has to work. It cannot match up a 4 stack of people against a bunch of solo queuers. There's just no way that can work. Communication is going to be different. And the other thing I'm worried about is team comps. So if you're in a 4v4 queue and you have the standard 2 DPS, tank, healer, and then it queues 4 DPS, does those 4 DPS ever queue against you? Because right now, currently, that can happen in random arenas. And that's kind of what I'm thinking is going to actually be happening. We're going to see that. Or is matchmaking just going to hold them or keep them pretty much in a dead queue? So we're going to kind of have to take a look at that and see how that goes. So that's going to be interesting if we get some more information on it. Based on their goals and what they want to accomplish, though, does this increase the PvP population? Quite frankly, no. There is nothing with these PvP queue changes that does anything to increase PvP population. The people that are queuing for arenas are still going to queue for arenas. People that are queuing for 8s are probably still going to queue for an 8. We're not gaining anything here. Encourage positive play. There's nothing here, again, that's encouraging positive play. Getting rid of ranked is not going to stop any type of toxic behavior. It still happens in 8s. It still happens in the 4s and stuff when you're in there in regs as well. So encourage positive play. I don't see this really doing anything. It's really not meeting anything what their goals are doing. And then ensure PvP is rewarding. Nothing in here. I would even say it's almost less rewarding at this point, because you're removing ranked arenas, so all of the ranked rewards are going away. We don't know if they're going to be moved to another vendor or if they're actually going away permanently, but they're removing the titles and everything that you would get from like the top 3 titles and from each spec. So that's something that is definitely going away. So it kind of looks like it's actually going to be less rewarding in a sense if you're someone who played a lot of ranked arenas. If you're someone that plays a lot of 8s, really doesn't matter. It's going to be about the same as far as queue changes. The only thing that I can think of is you're going to see more pre-mates in the 8 queue. And if there is and I almost certain this is what they're alluding to in the stream, that you will be able to full stack again. You will be able to have an 8 stack. I'm just wondering how matchmaking is going to work with that, because is it just going to keep that entire team out of queue until there's another team? Or is it just going to we going back to like the ranked 8 days, which I'm fine with. I would actually be very, very satisfied if you could queue as a full stack and then it waits for another full stack to queue against you. I would be ecstatic. But what I'm thinking is going to happen is it's going to be some type of timer, and eventually that full 8 stack is going to go up against just a bunch of random solo queuers, and it is going to be an absolute bloodbath. So those are the PvP queue changes. The biggest thing for this is just ranked arenas are being removed. No more ranked arenas. You can queue for 8s, you can queue for 4s as groups or solos. And that is it. Next on the list, they have a brand new PvP structure. A lot of this stuff on here I actually think is a good direction. So essentially we are getting galactic seasons for PvP. It's going to be, if you guys are familiar with any of the battle pass kind of systems, something like for Overwatch 2 or for like Valorant, it's kind of the same thing, but it's completely free. You don't have to pay anything in it. You can spend cartel market coins and credits to unlock everything. It's going to basically function the way Galactic Season does now, but for PvP. So there's going to be essentially be a Galactic Seasons and a PvP Galactic Seasons. It's going to be a separate thing. So the rewards are going to be separate and different, I assume. I assume they're not going to overlap, but we don't know all the details yet. They're going to update the medal system. So the medal system currently has been in the system for a very long time. So all of the damage numbers and everything, rewarding correct medals. And the medal system is going to basically give you tokens for the new PvP currency. There's going to be a new PvP currency where the medal system is basically how you are going to get tokens from that, from what I understand from the live stream. They've removed the free-to-play cap on missions, so for those who aren't subscribed, you used to have only be able to play 10 PvP missions a week in 8v8 war zones and just the regular queue, unless you were partied up with someone else with a sub. So now they are getting rid of that, so all the free-to-play players can basically queue as much as they want. Since they're doing away with, and I think this is a move because they're doing away with ranked, so they don't have to support that rank kind of queue system. So now that they did away with that, they can just freely open it up and pretty much let everybody play as many war zones as they want. Like I talked about before, there's a new PvP currency that goes along with the new seasonal PvP vendor. So we don't know what's going to be on that vendor. We don't know if they're just taking the ranked rewards and moving them over to that vendor. We're not really sure. The one thing we do know is that the current rank tokens that you have are going to be going away. There's not going to be a conversion. There's not going to be anything. They said it directly in the live stream that either use it or lose it pretty much. So this patch is really bad for people that play a lot of ranked PvP. And then finally, they expect to have multiple seasons per year. So just like Galactic Seasons, multiple seasons per year. They said about 3 is kind of what they're shooting for. We'll see if that actually happens. Their track record hasn't been so good. Overall, if we kind of look at everything on the PvP front, I give them an 8 out of 10 for increasing the PvP population. I think the big thing here is going to be the Galactic Seasons for PvP, so it's another reward track. And then removing the free-to-play cap is obviously going to populate the queue way more. So it's very strong there. I like the changes there. I actually really do like some of these changes as far as increasing the overall PvP population. I think these changes could have been done with leaving ranked arenas in the game, but that's not the route they chose to go. Encourage positive play. I don't see anything on here that's going to encourage positive play. Now, we don't know all the details. Maybe there's certain things you have to do for Galactic Seasons or certain new medals, but right now there's not really anything on here to encourage positive play, and I think that's kind of where they're failing. I believe they're trying to get rid of ranked arenas because of the association with the toxic play and the attitudes inside of it, but I don't see anything they're actually doing to encourage any type of positive play. I just don't see anything that's going to really change. And then finally, ensure PvP is rewarding. This is probably another 8 out of 10. Putting in a new vendor and stuff to send money and credits and currency on is a good idea, especially for like the 8v8 crowd that really didn't have that. I was always a proponent of having something for the regular Warzone, some type of currency or something, some type of like special pets or things like that for people who play a lot. So I'm definitely on that track. It does kind of suck that they're getting rid of the ranked rewards, but we'll kind of see what happens with the vendors. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or anything, just go ahead and put them down there. And as always, see ya.